Hey guys, welcome back. Now this video is a bit long due cause it's going to be about KVK. Now this time KVK was basically kingdom versus kingdom versus kingdom. Is it better? In my opinion, it's better than Kingdom Clash because you've got more kingdom you can basically go up against rather than going up against only one and taking the chances of that kingdom being dead. But on the other hand, it's not as good as KVK because during KVK all kingdoms are open and you can basically go in and choose what kingdom you want to hit, and if it's dead you just move on to the next one. Now we were lucky enough that both kingdoms were not filled up with troops and people, but they were decent. So I will go right into the rankings, and I want you to keep in mind that during this kingdom clash, the R4s, we decided we would take no forts and base. We decided we'd have everyone score their points by killing troops, farming, killing monsters, whatever it takes. Because to be honest, when you take a base and a fort, people start asking for others to open up room, and they just sit there all day and they don't really contribute into the kills of the guild, which we pride ourselves in being a guild that fights. Anyways, as you can see, Kingdom 54 beat Kingdom 50 and 57. We got gem loads level 1 to 5. Of course, I did find out lately that both other kingdoms that lost, they got some gems as well. I don't know what levels they got. If you guys do, please let me know in the comments, since our kingdom won. To be honest, I didn't research into it. Now let's go briefly into the rankings. So you can see that our guild ranked number 1 in K54 and end up against the other two kingdoms. So you can check the rankings real fast as to what guilds and from which kingdom occupied the top positions. And also, if you want to check out, here's our player list and the points they scored. Now, unfortunately, Drop the Beat, who's our biggest player in the guild, he's sitting around at 800 million might. He did leave R1 for a few hours to go visit a few friends of his, so his points weren't listed here, but I do think he scored like 60 million points or something like that. Now, what I'm proud about of R1 and what everyone is proud about our guild is that if you go into the world rankings and you go into guild war rankings, you see that R1 was shy a few million points from number 10 in the world. Now this is pretty amazing for us, because if you go and check out the guilds, most of the guilds will have like double our points or about 5 or 6 billion more points than ours, and players that are sitting at around 1 or 2 billion might. So we took pride in this, but it doesn't mean that we're like the best out there. There are a lot of other guilds that can top us, but this was a victory for us during this kingdom clash. So without further wait, I will go right into the video. I've got a few rallies and a few solo hits we did during that period, so I hope you guys enjoy these. So our first rally went up against KDA in K57. Now, to be honest, I did port into K50 when the Kingdom Clash event started, but K50 wasn't that crowded as K57, so I kind of waited for my fury to end. I only had a couple of hours before I went to work, and this is the unfortunate part for me, that Saturdays are usually my very busy days, so I only get to play like an hour or two at the start of KVK, and then I can log on like at the end of the night for me, which is basically the time where most of the guilds have finished with their points and people are just sitting around watching the world chat or like killing monsters and farming their last few points. Anyways, you can see the rallies already taking off. Now the first hit, you will see it basically burns him. That is due to him being in research gear, as well as you saw in the previous screenshot. So this guy has a significant might drop, but shout out to his guild, cause to be honest, they actually ported in and reinforced him each and every time. So you can see 6 million drop for us, 24 million might drop for him, but very few dead on his part. Now I'll scroll right through the report of our troops and get into his. Basically, you can see he's got a few T4s in there and a few T3s. So we basically wounded his T3s and started killing off some of the remaining guards he had. Now in the following attacks, we will basically start clearing out his troops slowly, but the funny thing is that in each attack we were dropping him like about a million might, because I'm guessing that his guild actually knew his lineup and knew the troops he had in, so they were sending in the exact reinforcements he needed, so his troops wouldn't all get killed in our rally attacks. On the other hand, we were having fun, to be honest, since there was no one there to hit us and this guild didn't have players big enough to damage most of us. We decided we'd just sit there and stack up our points, because if you check the point system, killing T4s or wounding T4s during KVK and T3s are a lot of points gathered for solo events and guild events. So the second attack lands and you will basically see that he dropped like about a million might. Now people in the chat were going crazy like, oh, this is fun, do it again. And to be honest, shout out to Caesar for being patient enough to actually set up a third rally. You can see we killed 49,000 of his troops, ours were 48,000. And I do know that if you check it, you'll be like, oh look, you had the same deaths as his, but keep in mind that those 49,000 were all his deaths, and ours were just distributed between the players that participated in the rally. On the other hand, we were wounding a lot of their T4s, and you can see we actually killed a few of the T4s this guy had. So it was costly for the guild, whatever they're called, KDA, and it was basically just good fun for us. So Caesar had the patience. He told us that this will be the final rally. After that, he's just gonna move on because he wanted to get his solo and get a few more kills in. And to be honest, I could have done this all day. It's fun rallying rather than soloing sometimes. So I enjoyed it as much as it lasted. You can see another million might drop and basically points stacked up for us for this kingdom clash. So you can basically see he lost 16 million might, but that wasn't his. Again, this might is distributed into the players that actually came in and support him. So after this rally, we talked about it a bit in the chat and we decided that he had a few troops, so Nikki, and a few moments later you'll see Big Banana. And honestly, this guy comes up with insane names during KVK, so shout out to him because I always get a laugh out of it. They decided they'd come in and basically solo the rest of the troops. Now unfortunately I don't have the reports, and that is due to the reason that I was back from work at night, which was for me, so that was about 10 hours after these attacks. So most of the players had reports lost, or they were like covered up from other reports they got throughout the day, because these guys basically poured in to different spots. They're big players, so they have the troop count and they have the resources to be able to actually go on for quite a while. Anyways, it's nothing interesting. You saw how many troops the guy had remaining in his castle, so basically they cleared out his remaining T4s with his T3s. I don't recall who got his leader in the end, to be honest. There's too much going on, but they did clear him out. Again though, keep in mind, shout out to his guild because they actually did an awesome job supporting him and it was his mistake for staying unshielded, especially during KVK day. I mean, come on people, keep this day jolted down on your calendar, and make sure you've got a 24-hour shield so you can stay shielded if you're not planning on joining in on the fun, or if your day is too busy and you don't know if you'll have time to actually log in. So here you see we decided we'd rally basically a fort. You can see the troop count, there are quite a few T4s in there, but this guy has made a fatal mistake, the guy holding the fort. You will understand what I'm talking about in a few seconds once we check his profile. There we go. So he's got as his leader assigned, apart from his good war gear, honestly he's got champ gear, he's got cavalry gear on the right side, but his hero is uncommon graded, and thus the boosts he gives are very limited to heroes he could have to better heroes he could have chosen, like Rose Knight or like Bomb and Goblin, that basically give out army boosts, army attack boosts. So a foul to him for the leader he chose, and once again I stand by my idea that if you've got very few kills, I do automatically believe you're inexperienced, and I'm more confident in the hit we will deliver. So you can see the report of this attack. We actually had a 13 million might drop versus a 25 million might drop, and you can see the dead on our side were like 200k, and they had double the deaths. Now these weren't T4 deaths, but there were T4 wounded, so once again points getting stacked up for our side during this kingdom clash. Now with these little clips you can basically get an idea of how R1 actually was able to rack up the points while attacking. So in this next clip I actually urge someone to go in and either solo or rally attack this guy, because I want you to see what gear and heroes you must never equip at the same time. Now this guy will take his gear one by one from bottom right to the top. So he's basically got a flute, which is for research. He's got the hunter's horn, which is for hunting monsters. He's got the sacred emblem, which is basically a farming boost gear. He's got the orb of pestilence, which is for cavalry attack. He's got the griffin boots on the left side on the bottom, which is for construction and research boost. He's got the Nocero's chest, which is basically for building boost. He's got the hunter's helm, which is again for hunting. And finally he's got the horn, whatever it's called, which is cavalry attack and defense. And to top this all off, he's got elementalist, rank 6 and common grade. And this guy provides basically siege engine attack and defense, if I recall correctly. So basically this combination of gear and hero it provides nothing. It's just a waste of I don't know, the time to actually assign all these in the slots they should be assigned. Now the guys decided to rally him, and the reason is because he was sitting at 64 million might, and according to a scout report they got, he had about 800k troops. So we kind of thought, and I was actually positive that that troop count was real, but it did turn out to be false info. The thing is that I basically want to add this, like I said at the start, because I want you guys to see that the big mistakes people can make. And sitting at 64 million might, and as you can see, he's basically zeroed at 58 million might. Now either he had his troops elsewhere farming, or that's his core might. The thing is that do spend some time in researching your hero composition and researching the gear you should use. You can see his hero lineup is even worse. He's got Elementalist and Trickster that provide nothing, and he could have used Big Guy as his main hero that would provide him with infantry attack boost, and of course the other two heroes plus 2 more that could basically boost his cavalry and his snipers that were sitting their way open with basically no boost on them. So I've got two more clips to basically share with you that I found worthwhile during KVK. The first one is basically a rally we set up against the Luna Fort in K50. This happened just a few minutes before KVK ended, so we could actually hold on to a fort for a few days and help us out in the war we've got. And keep in mind, I've got a video coming because we had a few rallies yesterday that were done against us, and I will show you what happened there. You can see that the fort here, we did occupy it, and we will check the report just in a few minutes. They didn't have time to react after this attack because the fort basically went into protection mode a few moments later. So you can see 17 million might drop for us, 25.8, so let's say 26 million might drop for them, and a few T4s that were actually killed during the process. So this basically was the final points we were able to stack up. You can take a look of what was happening in K54 as well during this period. It was just a few moments before KVK actually ended. And I've got a final clip to share with you that actually happened just a few moments before we rallied Luna Fort, and you will see Caesar once again. If you've checked my previous videos, you know who he is. This time he decides to solo attack 2.8 million troops. So I will let the video play and you can see all the reports of the attack as well. Before I do sign off though, if you like what you've seen, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and share with your fellow teammates. Also, feel free to comment down in the comment section and hit me up on line chat if you wish. My ID is in the description. Have fun all. Silent out.